All right. Well, welcome to Transformation Tuesday. Yep, it's Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. So let's take a deep breath into today, knowing that we've never lived this day. What if? What if? This was the best day of your life so far. Well, Transformation Tuesday, we are like coming live every Tuesday since March of 2020 and with different topics or paradigm shifters and just what are paradigm shifters, and we are a dedicated global growing community dedicated to shift and uplift the planet. How's that sound, David?
That sounds like and we need a shift. Let's go. Let's
We're shifting. Okay.
let's get behind this thing and push. Let's go.
Allowing it to happen. Yeah.
There you go.
With a little push there. All
Well,
right. Well,
you
so
have to have a little energy applied, a little friction, okay, to
yeah,
get it
there
going.
you go. All right. Well, the topic for August of 2024 has been allowing authentic leadership. Hmm. Allowing authentic leadership. And so I am so thrilled today to bring you my friend. And wow, we've been friends for a long
Long
time.
time. Yeah.
David Norris. So let me tell you a little bit about David. And David is a husband, a father, a grandfather, a leader, a former banker, and served as an infantry officer in the United States Marine Corps. Take a deep breath in on that. Yeah. So formerly Happy State Bank's chief operating officer, David's bank operations experience of 35 years covers the spectrum of bank operations, investments, asset liability management, and on and on and on, wealth development, human resources, accounting, facilities management, and audit. And for 25 years, David helped Happy State Bank. I just talked to somebody about, do you know where Happy Texas is? They said, nope. Happy State Bank from Happy Texas grow from a 2 location company of $20 million in total assets to its 35 locations in 24 communities and nearly $3 billion in total assets, and is now one of the largest banks in Texas. Woohoo! I love driving through Texas and seeing all the Happy State banks now. Yeah. And you've been the team lead on 11 bank mergers and acquisitions. So, as executive and entrepreneur leadership consultant and coach since 2015, David Norris has dedicated his life to empowering, growing, and mentoring businesses, owners, and entrepreneurs. And David also, David is an Aggie
Yes.
from Texas A&M. So with that, I want to turn this over to you, David, and speak to us about, this authentic leadership, maybe where you've come from and how
Well,
this is so important to you.
yeah, well, it's driving me right now, leadership. It is and the lessons I've learned over the years. I've often said that everything that I ever needed to know about the banking business, I learned as a grunt infantry officer in the Marine Corps. It's all about the relationships that you build, and letting people do their jobs, but also understanding who you are as a leader. And this is a big difference right here. That's why I'm really grateful, Judy. Thank you very much, because authentic leadership is extremely important. So what I'm suggesting, it's a project that I'm working on right now, is is discovering your leadership epistemology. Now,
Whoa.
yeah, there you go. Now, epistemology is the theory of knowledge, okay, especially with regard to methods, validity, and scope. It's really just the investigation of what distinguishes a justified belief as opposed to an ego-driven opinion. And so it's so discovering our epistemology of our leadership is investigating and distinguishing a person's justified belief about his or her leadership from their ego-driven opinion about their leadership. This is a real challenge. Yeah. And now let me back up. Let's get a little better grasp of epistemology before I go into this. There are 4 pillars of epistemology. Okay. Knowledge, truth, critical thinking, and culture. I'm going to concentrate mostly on knowledge. Well, let me hit all 4 of them very briefly. Knowledge is concerned more with the meaning of academic knowledge, to form a link between the knower and the surrounding world. In other words, not separating them, but bringing them together, linking the 2 together. In other words, this is, you've heard the saying, we intellectually know something, but we don't have, we have trouble getting it into practice. Okay. So this is about getting that link in there. Truth, and which is where I'll spend most of our time, and especially because it's very pertinent to authentic leadership. Okay. Truth as a pillar of epistemology is concerned with the accuracy and authenticity, so this fits in really well, of information and belief. The truth, the accuracy and authenticity of information and beliefs. It involves understanding what is real, what is factual, what is consistent with evidence. This emphasizes the importance of seeking and recognizing objective reality, distinguishing between what is true and what is false, and maintaining integrity in representing the facts. Okay. In other words, truth is about aligning our understanding and representation with the actual state of affairs. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Another way of putting that, a little more simply, that ties to it, is that there's a gap between expectation and reality.
Yeah.
And that gap is called disappointment.
Tell us more about that.
Well, the thing is that if you have an expectation of yourself, an expectation of others, okay, but you also have the reality, okay, that gap between the 2, I call disappointment. Okay, the way you close that gap to where expectation and reality are the same is leadership accountability. Okay, yeah, and by the way, this can get painful because we confront things that we don't want to, our ego doesn't want us to confront.
So getting outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, very much so.
That's so, like in the terms like that we can all understand.
So that goes to the 3rd pillar of epistemology, which would be critical thinking.
Okay.
And that's concerned with the ability to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information in a reasoned and systematic manner. Now, notice I say reasoned. That's different from the word reasonable. Okay, because our ego will justify reasonableness. This is questioning assumptions and recognizing biases, assessing evidence, and then making reasoned, again, not reasonable, reasoned judgment. The words are critical in this, but essentially it's about thinking deeply and logically to reach well-founded conclusions and solve problems effectively. But this is an inside job. And then there's culture, and that's a little, I won't get into that, but that's shared values, beliefs, practices, and things that characterize a group or a society. But my contention is, and I'll offer 4 disciplines as to how to go about the finding or discovering or knowing the epistemology or the truth about your own leadership here in a minute. But because honestly, no amount of decompressing, distilling, dissecting, or dissolving leadership laws, principles, axioms, and theorems, and doing so in group settings or lunch and learns or workshops, classes, retreats, or any of that will work until you actually apply discipline to focus to focus first on the epistemology of your true leadership and your real ability and capacity as a leader.
Well, the interesting thing is I was just on a coaching call, and I see her as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
right? And everything in her vision, just leader. So there's a gap there, like you were saying, that
Yeah.
disappointed gap, and the fear of rising above being part of the crowd and
Yeah.
going with the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and to like, okay, having the courage to take that first step. And what she decided to do was to take a communication class or whatever. But you feel that fear of
Yeah.
like, what if I'm judged?
Yeah.
What if I'm
Yeah.
this? And getting into that, you said it was an inside job. Well,
Yeah.
what did you have to do? Like, I love the rabbit holes, but tell us a story about you and your leadership, because I know you are a leader of your family.
Mhm.
You're a grandpa.
Yeah.
And how are those grandkids? I mean, they are super leaders in there. What is like something, tell me about that inside job is where I would love to uh to
Yeah.
go.
That,
Yeah.
let me, okay, hold that thought, to be continued. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good.
All right. So, but again, this is for that. And in the case of your client, and that fear, it's going back to investigating the investigation of what distinguishes your justified belief about your leadership as of what your opinion about your leadership. Okay. Do I truly believe that I'm not a good communicator, or am I not a good communicator? What's the real holdup? What's the real root cause of it? And when you're being unwilling, Judy, to challenge what a person considers the most fundamental truths about leadership, is the biggest mistake anybody in leadership can make.
Whoa.
Okay. So you have to question everything. The more obvious anybody thinks a truth is, the more that truth must be investigated and scrutinized.
Whoa.
This work is not for the faint of heart, but we are not leading well. Okay. I'll just put it real blunt. We are not leading well. And by the way, I'll generally address in this, I'm going to talk about businesses, but it's true of everything. It's true of scout leader, church leader, um, coach of a soccer team, kids soccer team, being on jury duty and being selected as a jury foreman, or even deciding to make an impact to bring your leadership out as a city council person. Or there's leadership opportunities everywhere, but we shy away from it because we don't know ourselves as leaders.
Oh, okay. There you
Okay.
go.
Now then, let's go back to your original question. Where did I figure this out? You've heard most of my story before.
Most
Okay.
people here
Okay.
haven't at
Okay.
all.
I understand. But the thing is that what I learned from starting all the way back into my Marine Corps days, coming up through my first 10 years in banking, where I learned, well, when I came out of it, I would tell people, I don't really know how to run a bank, but I know what not to do. That was in the 80s, and it was really, really ugly in those days. And then joining this bank, and my former bank, which by the way is the names are still there, but it's actually owned by another bank out of Arkansas now. It sold a couple of years ago, but I took it to where I wanted to take it. But I was so passionate about doing this, and this has taken me 9 years to actually get out of my head and onto paper. I'm teaching my clients this stuff every day, but to put together, I'll focus in on from 2009 through 2012. Okay. Okay. You know, the part about my weight, my headaches and stuff like that. I've got that going on. I'm about to be a Rotary District Governor, which, up here in the Texas Panhandle and Permian Basin, you can take the entire country of Israel and put inside that area and still have room all the way around it. A lot of travel, a lot of commitment, 2 years of training before you actually serve 1 year. And in that time frame, we did 4 mergers and acquisitions, and I got promoted to chief operating officer. Actually had the title, had the job, but got the title, and appointed to the board of directors. How the hell did I do that? Okay. Well, in looking back, I know exactly how I did that. And that's what I'm calling my 4 disciplines that I'll share towards the end as to what it really takes to deep down. You've got to prepare yourself for discipline. And that is something most people will reject right there, is to be able to confront the ugly truth that is us. You remember the Pogo comic strip? You know, the most famous lines that we have met the enemy and he is us. Yeah. And that's where I really, and I would look back over time from failing embarkation inspections in Okinawa, preparing to mount out a reinforced infantry battalion, failing it twice, see your career pass before your eyes. But I just started pulling these things out and remembering people that I relied on, people that told me the truth about what I was doing. And then what I had to do, the man that I had to become, so that I can be that husband, father, and grandfather, and to where I can live that my number one core value, as you well know, is my family comes first each time, every time, all the time. And it did even during that time period that I'm talking about, governor, 4 acquisitions, getting promoted. I never missed anything. Okay. But you've got to really know who you are. And there's some things that you have to do that most people don't even know they're unwilling to do.
Whoa.
Okay. And I'll get to that here in a second. And I'm watching the clock. I don't want us to.
It's all good, David. We all
Okay.
need
All
to
right.
hear this. Yeah.
But discovering who you are as a leader, discovering your truth as a leader, it's an ongoing process. It's never a destination. I wish it was a simple 1, 2, 3, easy to do, you know, apply these 4 things and it'll all be done. It just doesn't, there's not a 1, 2, 3 easy to apply process to find it. Truth can be difficult and very difficult to accept. However, your truth as a leader is still truth, regardless of your opinion about your leadership.
It's so true.
This is the work. This is the work that I do with my clients, and it's pretty amazing. And like I say, it doesn't matter what business it is. It doesn't even matter. You know, I've got clients in engineering, architecture, oil and gas, wind energy, solar energy, heavy duty truck parts. You know, I've got it's never a cash flow problem. Okay, it's a leadership issue every time. Okay, it's a and you know one of the things I like to do is I teach my clients, especially when they're talking about their cash flow's not good. Well, what are your accounts receivable? And it's like, well, they're big. They're this much. Well, how old are they? Oh, well, we need to learn how to make collection calls. Okay. And when you foreclosed on churches and evicted a congregation before, I'm not afraid to make collection calls. Okay. It's especially on something as account receivable. And so as a result, my clients have built their reputation as the first company you want to hire, first company you want to do business with, the last company you want to owe. And it's leadership, every bit of it. Okay. So anyway, so I think we were talking before we hit the record button about the high noise to signal ratio of leadership, growth and development programs. I mean, it's all out there, but I've just learned this over decades and finding that your true capacity as a leader starts to grow and you start to fill it faster when you learn the epistemology, the truth about who you are as a leader, the truth. And that person that you look at in the mirror is the one, that's who you got to take on right there. So I'm going to offer very quickly 11 things first, because the first thing you have to do, Judy, is to challenge the conviction of certain beliefs. Okay. Nothing ever improves until the leader improves. Okay. The only thing about unique about any business, okay, is how it is led. It doesn't matter what the product is. And business owners should be proud of their products and their services. But it's the leadership behind the delivery of those products and services that makes them unique. Banking, very commoditized industry. Okay. Checking accounts and loans. Basically, that's it. Basically, right there. The ones that do it best is a function of leadership. And I've been challenged on this before. Well, it's different in the not-for-profit world. I disagree. The only difference between a for-profit and a not-for-profit is its tax status. That's it. They still have to generate revenue. The impact a company makes or a not-for-profit makes drives revenue. Revenue is a function of leadership. And so challenging those convictions that you want your company to improve, you've got to improve. Nothing's going to improve until the leader improves. Okay. Nothing is ever going to improve. And, a couple of corollaries to that, what you allow continues. Okay. What you don't change, you choose. And we don't listen to what I call the lesson of the feather, the two before, and the ton of bricks. Okay. The feather is there around us all the time, gently talking to us, gently, okay? But oftentimes we don't listen to the feather. We wait for the two before right between the eyes, okay? And I'm surprised I don't have a permanent bruise right here, okay? Because I have a tendency to wait for the two before. And a couple of times I've had the ton of bricks. You don't want the ton of bricks, okay? But listening to the gentle stroke of the feather, okay, is far less painful than the two before of awareness or the ton of bricks of failure. Okay. Although there's some great learning in there if you evaluate that learning as well. Leaders, okay, all the time, we're beset on all sides by issues, problems, disasters, challenges of all kinds, all degrees, whatever they are, they're all leadership matters. You deal with them and then you prepare yourself for the next one. Mm-hmm. Even the best farmer in the panhandle doesn't know when he's going to get hailed out, and he will be. Okay. But by planning, they can mitigate that a lot and recover from an unexpected, unseen black swan event type of failure. Okay. So it's you just deal with them and you prepare yourself for the next one. Where leaders are all the time, we're beset with the heartbreak of human failure. Excuse me, of human failure. Okay, human beings are fallible, and human failure is heartbreaking. Just remember that things don't take time; people take time.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Things don't take time. People take time. So you have to learn from each experience and get better because guess what? There will be more. The future has a way of arriving unannounced. Okay. There will be a test. Okay. So, and then taking control of your emotions, control what you can control. The main thing you can control is your emotions. When you learn to control that lizard brain, and go through the 8 different feelings like Joan Rosenberg. And when you learn to control those things right there, those 90 seconds, that getting it down to 90 seconds is a real challenge. What happens then is you allow wisdom to come into your heart.
Ooh.
And you may have to edit out what I'm going to say next, but I call that when you can allow that to happen, that's when your head, your heart, and your ass are wired together. Okay. And that's when you allow wisdom into your heart, your head and your ass will follow. Okay. And then but it's not only going to happen. Okay. And it might be the ton of bricks of failure. It might be the 2 or 4 of awareness. With good help, maybe the feather will do it. But I call it the Popeye moment. Remember the cartoon Popeye when I've had all I can stand and I can't stand no more. When you come to that Saint John of the Cross, dark night of the soul moment, that's when your leadership, the examining of your leadership, and where to find your leadership epistemology actually begins.
Mhm.
Okay. Leadership. Now, we talked about this earlier. Leadership resides right here. It's within the 6 inches between your ears. Okay. So discovering sources for your epistemology is vitally important, because in these same 6 inches is also where that arrogant ego resides. Okay. It's crowded in there. Okay. Finding your leadership epistemology is not free. There is a cost to it. Sacrifices will be made. Okay. And understanding what sacrifice is important. Most people don't really understand. Sacrifice is the exchange of something of great value for something of even greater value.
Mhm. A
Okay.
lot of sacrifice. Yeah.
There are sacred cows to slaughter. Okay. And then the thing is, scaffolding is going to be key. Okay. It's essential and required to getting all these things wired together. Um, just like the bolts that hold together scaffolding on a building, the more and more weight it can handle, type of thing. Anything less is piling on. You know how if you allow papers or laundry or something like that to just stack up, and then you walk by it and the slightest brush, they all fall into the floor? That Henry David Thoreau said it very, very well, Judy. He said that, and I won't get it exactly right, but you'll get the idea. He said, if you have put your thoughts and dreams into the sky or into the air, your work is still done, because that's where they belong. Now put the foundations under them. I'd have to look up that exact quote, but he said but the bottom line of it is, if you don't scaffold, you're going to be piling on. And so anything less than scaffolding, okay. And these are all of these, there's lots deeper stuff to it. So we're doing a flyover here pretty fast at a very high altitude. But the main thing that's got to happen is disrupt yourself. I've always said I was known as a disruptor at the bank.
Oh, I love that. To disrupt yourself. Yeah.
Disruptor, yeah. And that people learn to disrupt or they will be disrupted. Challenging the conviction of their belief at how they're doing their work, how they're leading their team, things like that. But disrupt yourself, or you will continue to be disrupted yourself. What you do not change, you choose. Okay.
I love that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's also as simple as clean your office. Clean it up. And unsubscribe from everything. Turn it all off. Less doing, more being is what I call that. Because you've got to start making room for the new stuff. And we do a lot. There is so much stuff out there that is, we hear about FOMO, fear of missing out. And so we're constantly death scrolling TikTok and crap like that. We're constantly inside a pinball. We're a pinball inside a pinball machine, and the whole world's got their own flipper. We cut it out. Forget the FOMO, fear of missing out. There is joy in missing out. JOMO. Okay. So there's a point in here where you just got to turn all that stuff off. In my house here, I'm looking at a 48-inch diagonal flat screen TV. Hasn't been on in a year.
Right.
No cable, no dishes, no streaming. It's not there.
I love that, David. I love that. It brought me back to when I was raising my kids, and they were so glued to this thing, and I
Yeah.
just was like, had it, and
Yeah.
I went and cut the wires on the back of the
Yeah.
TV. And they sat there like this.
Yeah.
When are we gonna get fixed? I'm like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
and back when I say clean your office, let me get that in there. It doesn't matter if you have the corner office in a really tall glass building in downtown Austin, or if your office is a card table in your laundry room. Clean it up. Okay, it doesn't matter. Your office can be a closet off the shop floor. It doesn't matter, because the order around you is indicative of the order in the leader's mind.
Oh, that's very important, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Raymond Hollywell speaks a lot about that in the law of compensation.
Mhm.
If you want to go back and dig that part out right there. But Judy, in all this, what is easy to do is also easy not to do. Okay. Okay. Leaders are really creative, but they will often remain in somewhat of an unorganized and grabastic state, pardon my marine language, leaving things undone or done halfway. Okay. So ritualized discipline, as opposed to routine discipline, ritualized discipline are required for finding your leadership epistemology. Ritual is a sacred practice, not a rote ritual that you just get up, get ready, go to work. No, this is about being very intentional and conscious about the things that serve you and making them ritual. Okay,
Can you
and
give
that's
us
a big deal.
like an example of what that, an example of that?
Yeah, in fact, is in the 4 disciplines that I'm going to hit, and I hope we have time. Um, the when you're in a routine, a routine and a rut, they're the same as a grave. The grave is just closed off. Okay, you're doing things subconsciously, unconsciously, but not knowing why you're doing them. Okay. Athletes are really good. Like everybody, if you study Tom Brady, the former, the greatest of all time quarterback, he was the most ritualized person I've ever observed in how he did things, from his diet to his workouts to his mental health to his spiritual health to all of those things. And that's one of the things that made him as great an athlete as he was. You can look at all the greats like that who have very dedicated rituals in their life. And those rituals are sacred and non-negotiable. Okay. And that's why I bring up these 4 disciplines. Now you've got to deal with all those 11 other things that I just brought up. And you've got to do that. You've got to get that unsubscribed. You've got to clear some stuff off. You got to be ready to slaughter some sacred cows, because to find that epistemology, okay, to apply ritualized discipline, well, again, there's 4 of them, but you don't do them 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. You got to do all these at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay. And the only way you can do that is have a sacred ritual. Be passionate about it. Passion, the word passion actually means sacred sacrifice. So what are you willing to die for here? Okay. It's a contrarian leadership principle is know which hill you're willing to die on. Okay. Knowing full well that you may have to retreat from other hills to defend that. Well, if we're dealing with hundreds of distractions a day through social media, television, other people, the pinball inside the pinball machine, it's until you have that Popeye moment and say, I've had all I can stand and I can't stand no more. And so certain things things that have been sacred have to be taken out now. And that's unfortunately is going to include people. Okay. Because unknowingly or not, that, what it was average is a statistic. Okay. Averages for groups. I'm not a group. I'm me. And when I focus on me, I'm better able to serve other people in my leadership capacity. I'm better able to be there for my granddaughters, my daughter, Candy, my clients, their issues, whatever is going on. And my clients are doing some really cool things, especially the not-for-profit guys. They're taking on head-on homelessness, chronic homelessness, fatherlessness, food insecurity. And my favorite, most exciting one was water wells in rural Uganda. And actually going over there and actually working with that team over there was just to see that studying and knowing who you are as a leader so much increases your effectiveness as a leader and your efficiency of how you get it done. Okay, so let's get into 4 disciplines, okay? The first one is, and this is to replace that stuff that you're going to get rid of, okay? All right. First one is to always carry 2 books with you, always.
Okay, I'm going to write these down, okay? Always carry 2 books with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and one to write in.
Say that again?
Yeah, 1 book to read, 1 book to write in. Okay. See,
Oh.
I always carry a moleskin, and I like the Kindle Paperwhite. Okay. Now I do carry real books. I got a whole bunch of them behind me, as you can see. What I like about this is, one, the only thing I can do on this is read books. I can't check a text message that just comes through. You know, I can't see it, check an email. I can't see that WhatsApp notice that just popped up. I can't see any of that stuff. Only thing I can do on this is order, buy, and read books. Okay. What this does, Judy, is that it's giving yourself a gift of creativity, imagination, thinking, knowledge, and wisdom, all of which are essential to becoming a better leader. That leader being one that is grounded in the truth of their leadership. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I've had this described as life-changing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
For
I'm
the one,
always
for
curious.
the
I
one,
have like
really,
a,
I mean, if
I'm like a boom, boom,
what
boom,
if
like
you
all over, and
yeah
in the car, no
yeah
matter where I'm at.
yeah your car is your library is a good thing, but the thing about it is that if that speaker that you're listening to in that book says something that is profound and you don't want to forget it, give yourself the gift of pulling over and write it down. Yeah, maybe audio messages are okay, I guess, but you're driving. Pull over, okay?
So
But the
tell me
next one,
other ones. I tell me some more. That was number one. Tell me more.
number two, number
Okay.
two. This is the second one. It's making your calendar your defensive perimeter and your primary offensive weapon. Okay. The future, and the reason is the future has a way of arriving unannounced. Okay. The leader that knows the truth of their leadership is they're ready. And like I said, there will be a test. Okay. But see, here's the point of making you getting this allows you to, you're telling your calendar what, not your calendar telling you what you're going. Okay. And so when, just like turning all that other stuff off, turn that calendar on and you put everything on that calendar. And you write down everything in here. Okay, let me back up to the first. You got a phone number, a date, an appointment, a contact, a birthday, a follow-up, an idea. You write everything down, and then a couple of times a day, at least once, but several times a day, if there's something that you need to mark on your calendar to do or to call, pick up the phone, take care of business, a birthday, a family event, volleyball game, dance contest, yeah, all the things that I'm in, you put that on the calendar, okay? But you don't, you start building that out. Yeah, we're told that, in sports, the best defense is a good offense, and that is true, okay? But I used this back in the Marine Corps days on defensive operations, was that sometimes while offensive operations are the best thing to do, sometimes defending is the thing to do, so that you can pull into a defensive mode, stop the enemy from attacking, gain the initiative, and resume offensive operations. And that the same thing can happen in our individual lives as leaders, or running a business, or running a not-for-profit, or just running the scout pack. It doesn't really matter in that regard. You make that calendar your defensive perimeter, and you don't let anybody inside that defensive perimeter that's not going to serve you.
Right.
That's going to be the people that say, hey, can I pick your brain? Or what are you doing next Tuesday? That type of thing, well, the thing is, they don't really care what the hell you're doing next Tuesday. They want your time. And so what I do is, and it's true, I speak in total integrity. I wanted to do this podcast, so it's been on my calendar.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay. The thing, but a lot of people, what are you doing next Tuesday? I usually say to people, my schedule is wonderfully filled. How may I help you? They tell me that's when it comes out right there. Something I want to do, like this podcast, happy to do it. Let's do this. Okay. If it's something I don't want to do because it doesn't necessarily serve what I'm doing because they just want to pick my brain for free. Okay. I am so sorry.
There you
I
go.
am wonderfully engaged at that time. But since I tell my calendar what I'm going to do and not going to do, it's my choice.
All right, great.
Now,
So
and by the
tell me
way,
three. Yeah, I want to
that's
go.
going to, and Judy, that's going to chap some hides. It's going to make some people angry.
Okay, so chap some hides.
Chap some hides. There's going to be some people get upset with you and think that, because they want to pull you back down into the common herd of average. Okay.
Chap some hides.
Chap
Go.
some hides. Yep. It's going to irritate some people, and people are going to go by the wayside because you're no longer there for them when they want you.
Okay, so how do we set that down?
What you say no to becomes more important than what you say yes to.
Ooh, I'm going to write that down. What you say no to. Okay, say that one more time. Is
What you say no to becomes more important than what you say yes to.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And you build that defensive perimeter. And if you don't shut those things down, you will be overrun.
Yeah.
And you'll continue to be the pinball inside the pinball machine. The whole world's got the flipper.
Yeah, that's really important.
Okay. Then the next one is ask the right people the right questions.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, we spend a lot of time on the quality of questions, which is very, very important. Getting the question right. What is really the question? And then, okay, you can have the right question, but if you ask the wrong people, what? It's going to get confusing. And so I developed, and I shared it with you. You don't have to bring it up now. You can share it with your folks later. It's the people question matrix and what happens in the 4 quadrants, similar to Covey's activity matrix. It's kind of based on that, only it's right question, right people, wrong question, wrong question, right question. And where you land in those boxes, it determines the degree of accuracy. And once you understand visually that getting the right question and getting the right person to ask that question is the main thing. You're gonna get closer, and so you become very adept at it in finding out. But even if you ask the wrong question to the right person, you might confuse that right person because they're not going to understand your question. That means you got the wrong question. Okay. And then very quickly, let me just hit the 4th one because I know I'm probably way over time here.
That's okay.
The 4th discipline is you've got to recognize that your way doesn't work. And that's where I really go. And it has so helped me over the years. Not so much, well, very much so in where I engaged a person as a leadership coach or leadership mentor. But that's but looking back to the people that had such a positive and sometimes negative influence in my life and understanding that. But the main thing is that having a leadership coach or mentor is giving yourself a gift. Give yourself a gift. It's an investment required for you to perform at your highest and best ever that guide you through these 4 disciplines. Coaching is about asking questions. You and I both know that, but also mentoring is about answering questions and helping them get the right and that as well. And in my experience, and I've been through the whole laundry list plethora of different delivery methods for things, but it was when I was engaged in one-on-one coaching is really good. That you've heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Okay, that's only a part of the quote. Okay, the full quote is when the teacher is ready. Excuse me, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears.
Ooh.
That's the full quote.
Can you say that one more time,
Sure.
please?
Yeah. When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Hmm.
When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears.
Wow.
And so that's where my thing, coaching, I think, is temporary. Mentoring is for a lifetime.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother
Okay.
topic, boy.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, coaching and
Yeah.
mentoring. So
Yeah.
tell me, I know, well, we could do this all day long, but real quick, just to sum this up, tell me just, woo, I want to know the difference between a coach and mentor and what you
No,
just said is gold nugget right there.
the coaching and I'm more of the Socratic method, if you will, or evocative. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to pull out of them what it is they truly want. Uh, and it does, yeah, they may say right at first, I truly want my company to be profitable. Okay, let's dig down into it. And we just start digging down into it and things like that. Uh, mentoring is about that coaching is helping bring out the problems, okay, and holding up the mirror so they can see who they are, okay. And mentoring is more, I'm going to say, navigation, okay. Uh, in that, both of them, the primary thing as a coach, I ask a lot of questions. As a mentor, I do a lot of answering, okay. And um, mentoring's for a lifetime. So coaching is to me temporary. But if you look in the athletic world now, the top athletes, yeah, they've got their skill set coaches. Okay, they need that. But many of them, the vast majority of them, have a mindset coach right there. There's a man that coaches at one of the high school here in Amarillo. My daughter actually taught him when he was going to that school. He's a big guy. His name is Ziggy Hood. Ziggy was played 4 years full scholarship, really smart guy, uh, Missouri, and then played for a number of years with the Pittsburgh Steelers and finished his career. He 12 years in the NFL, and all that time he had mindset leadership coaching to help keep him grounded in discipline. And he's now here teaching in high school. I've watched his teams play. He's a defensive line coach, and he's a big man. He's a real, and those guys aren't all that big. They're not near as big as he is, but you can't run on them. And he's taught not only the skills that defensive linemen need, but he's also taught them right up here to take on that larger opponent and bend them to their will.
A true leader. Yeah.
A true leader. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is awesome, David.
Yeah.
This has been so gold.
Yeah.
I want to ask you like one question, and now and um, what we love to do here is to, well, first of all, to really thank you for for coming and just giving us like more
Well,
than
yeah.
more and more
Yeah.
than
I mean, it
no,
was
but
very
ask
high
you a
level,
question.
very fast. So,
Yeah, well, no, I want to ask you a question. What is it that you would love us to hold for you? What would you love to have us hold for you? What would you love, David? And we're going to hold that energy for you because you're
yeah.
about ready to step out into, whoop, like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know you have
Well,
a book
well,
to release, and I want you to be talking about it right now.
yeah. Well,
What would you love, David?
let me back up to my way doesn't work, okay? Because you called me out on it. You knew exactly what to do. And that's when oh crap, I was doing the Lone Ranger thing again, and here we go. And yeah, you when was that, May, just a couple months ago that we were
Dallas, yep.
together. And golly, you didn't even give me a chance, Judy. You whipped that phone out and had me commit. And so as a result, the book itself is now we just started. It's in the hands of an editor for the second round of editing, the second of 3 rounds. And where what you hit goes into much more detail and some things
That's
like,
it. So tell us the name of the book,
well,
please.
right now it's called Your Leadership Matters, Discovering the Truth of Your Leadership.
Wow.
But the main thing, Judy, that I'm going to say to hold, I mean, for me is because I mean this in all sincerity. I made the statement earlier that we are not leading well at the beginning of this. We can at all, no matter what we're doing, business, family, relationships, for profit, not for profit, anything that we do, leadership is everything. And we can and most certainly must become better leaders. Okay. And so when our opinion of our leadership is replaced with our justified beliefs about our leadership, our truth now becomes our guiding light. And so courage and commitment to these disciplines that have worked for me, that worked for my clients, regardless of business or industry, profit, not for profit. My leadership matters. Those guys' leadership matters. And so does yours. That's what I want people to hold right there more than anything right there is to.
Okay. Well, so here's what we're going to do now. So you get on the receiving end there.
Yes, ma'am.
And we, it's like now in Texas, they say that all the time. Yes, ma'am. So, okay. So
Here
we're going
comes
to take our energy. Oh my God.
here comes the two before of awareness. Bring
Here
it.
comes your two before. And we're going to generate the energy. Oh, we're going to send it all the way to Amarillo, Texas.
All the way. We're not
And
the edge of the earth, but you can see it from here.
And we're going to hold that David's leadership and his speaking and his book and anything that you do transforms our ideas and our leadership in ourselves. So here you go, David.
Boom. Thank
Boom.
you. Judy,
Thank you so much. This has been really gold. I've got a ton of notes, and
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to the next time we talk.
All right.
And like everything that comes together. And thank you for being such a golden light in the world, in all of your clients' worlds too. This ripple effect coming from you is truly, truly amazing. I so appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you, Judy. I appreciate the opportunity.
Amen and
Well.
amen.